For decades, Americans have been trying to attain affordable health care. Since the late 1800s, politicians have proposed different forms of health care legislation. From Harry Truman to Barack Obama, they've all tried to tackle this monumental task with varying degrees of success.
Let's start from the beginning. In 1854, the Bill for the Benefit of the Indigent Insane, which would have established public asylums for the mentally ill, was one of the first health care bills passed by Congress. However, President Franklin Pierce vetoed it. In the early 1900s, many European countries passed initiatives establishing universal health care. In contrast, the political culture of the United States was characterized by a belief in personal liberty and limited government. To many Americans, government involvement in healthcare stood in stark contrast to their national values. In 1912, the Progressive Party, led by Theodore Roosevelt, included universal health care in their platform, a massive demonstration of the growing interest in this topic. President Franklin D. Roosevelt tried to include language establishing a single-payer system in the Social Security Act of 1935, but it was scrapped due to opposition from the American Medical Association. In the 1960s, LBJ signed legislation establishing Medicare and Medicaid. 50 years later, President Barack Obama's Affordable Care Act became law and is the most recent development in the healthcare saga.
Unlike people in other developed countries, most Americans purchase their health insurance from private companies and many get coverage through their employer. The Affordable Care Act, also known as ObamaCare, seeks to create a universal health care system that maintains the private health insurance market. Prior to the passage of the law, most of those without coverage lacked it because they had pre-existing conditions or because their employer did not offer coverage. Obamacare sought to rectify this by making it against the law to deny coverage based on the existence of pre-existing conditions while mandating that companies with 40 or more full-time employees offer their workers insurance. The law enforces the former through community rating, a rule that states insurance companies must charge people in the same age group approximately the same rate. These rules create a problem, however. Since young and healthy people tend to not buy insurance, these regulations would result in much greater costs as the sick and elderly demand health services. The law seeks to mitigate this problem through the individual mandate. If people fail to purchase insurance, they must pay a tax penalty that is approximately equal to the cost of insurance. This ensures that young and healthy people pay into the system. But this leads to yet another problem. What if people cannot afford insurance in the first place? Obamacare answers this question in two ways. First, it expanded Medicaid, which is government health care for the poor, to cover those with incomes of up to 136% of the poverty line. Second, it provides subsidies to those who don't qualify for Medicaid so that insurance may be affordable. The regulations, the individual mandate, and the subsidies make up the three pillars of Obamacare. If one goes missing, the entire healthcare system will become insolvent. Hi, good morning. So before we begin, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I'm Samira Ramirez. I'm 22 years old from Pennsylvania, and I'm a single mother.
Okay, so what condition were you born with?
I was born with type 1 diabetes.
Did you have health insurance before Obamacare was passed?
No, I couldn't afford it. The type that I needed was too expensive, and my employer just didn't offer it.
Did you ever go to the doctor before the law was passed?
Obviously, I had to go, whenever you need a checkup for your papers for work, or whenever you even had to get something fixed, like the flu. I had to go. It was also very expensive, the medications. Also, it would always rack up the bills too much.
So, what happened to you once the new law came into effect?
I was able to get insurance, which has been great for both me and my kids.
Were you able to afford it on your own?
No, of course not. I mean, look at me. But with subsidies, it really helped.
Oh, what happened to your wrist?
So a couple weeks ago, I was playing ball, with some bloods, but then the Crips rolled up trying to fight, and just got in the mess. At least, nothing else got shot or hurt, so.
Shot?
They were guns.
Oh, all right. So, what did you do when you broke it?
Well, my homies took me to the hospital. They asked me if I had insurance, and, for the one time in my life, I was able to say I did.
Did it cost a lot, or was it all covered?
It was all covered. The copay, it was like $5, but that's manageable.
Nice. Okay. So, what happened with your kids with the new law?
My kids,
Yeah, I hope you didn't forget them.
I have kids, and they also have diabetes, but now, they're covered. All of their friends, they're always, they're like, oh, I'm going to my checkup, every 6 months or every year, and they never got to say that, but now they can say that, and now they can be my dependents until they're 26, so, they can graduate high school, college, maybe grad school, we don't know, but they'll be covered forever.
Nice. What would you say to people who want to see the law repealed?
I would say they're assholes. I would say they're heartless, people. What kind of human being doesn't want to give other people the opportunity of health?
Well, I think that really sums it up. Thank you for meeting with us. I hope you have a nice day.
This is NBC and you're watching Samira Ramirez. This is The Nightly Show, and today we have an exclusive interview with a Mr. Vincent D'Angelo. He's going to be discussing with us healthcare reform, and since he's an owner of a big department store, he knows all about it. So, welcome, Mr. D'Angelo.
Well, just call me Vinny, and it's not a huge business. I'd like to consider myself a small business owner.
Okay. So, tell us a little bit about your business.
So, I'm the owner of Jugs R Us. I employ about 50 people. They manage everything for me. We sell anything from Advil to Adderall. It's a pretty wholesome store, if I'd say so. Other than that, that's about it.
So, how's business?
It's not booming, let me tell you. In these past 8 years, the taxes and regulations just keep piling up. It's getting harder and harder to employ people, and there are just fewer and fewer customers to buy my goods.
So, can you elaborate on that?
Well, with ObamaCare specifically, there are rules that if you have more than 40 full-time employees, you have to give them health insurance, or you find a way to buy them health insurance. And because of that, I can't employ that many full-time employees. I've had to scale back and cut back how many full-time employees I have. Now, because of those rules, I've had more employees who only work part-time, 20 hours, maybe 30 hours a week, and I can't pay them as well as I might have before because of these regulations. Before, I might have paid them a higher wage working full-time, but now I have to pay them a smaller amount so I don't have to pay for their health insurance.
So, why can't you give all of your workers health insurance?
It's just too expensive. I don't have the revenue to match the costs.
Alright, so what you're saying is that you're against Obama's Affordable Care Act.
Well, yeah, it places too many regulations on me as a small business owner, and the taxes only make it harder to pay for my costs to begin with.
So, it's been bad for business. So, who do you support?
Oh, Trump, of course. He's the only one who can make this country great again. I'm all for repealing the Affordable Care Act. It's been a disaster. These past 8 years, a total mess. We need to get rid of these regulations, we need to lower taxes, and then we can have some business going again in this country. And you know, I'm very proud to support it.
And we are signing off. Good night, America.
So you say the cost of health insurance is too high, meaning you'd rather watch poor people die just to keep the government out of our nose and appeasing the Republican Senate. Those hoes. Keep track, you hacks. ObamaCare is stacked. We got everyone covered, which I know makes you shudder. Your corporate donors may make you stubborn, but it's our responsibility to govern the governed. Now take a seat. You're about to be beat as I lay down the facts of the Affordable Care Act. First, we got regulation hitting the corporations, backing up our nation of pre-existing conditions. Over 40 employees ain't sound small to me. You better ensure these workers are insured. Now feel the weight of our individual mandate. You better sign up and suck it up, or shut up and pay up. I can tell you it works. Believe me, it's great. Now we got the subsidies to guarantee that those in poverty will live to retiree. Okay, so I know.
Whoa, free healthcare, you liberals say? Sorry, just gotta ask, who's gonna pay? Socialized medicine, what are you, a commie? You think that shit works? Get a degree. Obama made promises that never occurred, and now all these people gotta switch their doctors. Now businesses won't hire their workers full time, and who can blame them? The coverage costs are a crime. You want to raise taxes, especially on the wealthy? Sorry, I'd rather stick to a trickle-down economy. And all this extra spending in the form of transfer payments, you really want to grow the debt of the nation. I think that these high-risk people pay their own bills. It's not my fault that they're always getting ill. The government is huge. Why does it need to be bigger? We're governed by the people. No need to get triggered.
Yeah! You better sign up and suck it up, or shut up and pay up. That part got messed up.
Fuck, now we got fucked up.